We started talking to John Adams about coming to Sydney to conduct the Sydney Symphony for the first time early in 2012. And at that time, he was particularly interested in composing a new work for the American saxophone player, Timothy McAllister.
You know, at the risk of sounding like a fanboy, I mean, he's always been my favorite composer and always at the top of my list ever since I was a college student, all the way through my postgraduate work. And quite frankly, it's a dream come true to have a piece by John Adams.
I met Tim McAllister in the course of putting together an earlier piece of mine, and I just immediately could intuit the fact that he was a very special musician. It seemed to me that, number one, I probably would be a good person to write a saxophone concerto because I grew up as a wind player, and I grew up listening to a lot of jazz, and that he ought to be the right person to play it.
The Saxophone Concerto is a co-commissioned work involving orchestras in North and South America and the Sydney Symphony. Fortunately, the Sydney Symphony gets to perform the world premiere performance, but there will be repeat performances by the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, and the Sao Paulo Symphony Orchestra in South America. Two people who are particularly committed to commissioning new work are Renata and Andrew Caldor. They've both commissioned a number of works over the years from major composers in Australia and overseas. And we're very fortunate that they were very happy and willing to support the new commissioned work by John Adams, this Saxophone Concerto.
I have to say that this is a world premiere here, and people out in the audience probably don't understand how little is known during a world premiere. You really are like Magellan heading out into the vast Pacific Ocean. You think you know what's out there, but you keep bumping into continents. And even though I'm conducting, and even though I wrote the piece, it's still a voyage of discovery.
I think it's such an event for Sydney to be performing now the world premiere of this Saxophone Concerto with the composer conducting.
Tomorrow is my first rehearsal. I'm sure it'll be an exhausting and very fruitful and ultimately pleasing experience.
And I think people will be really just drawn in immediately because the piece really starts with quite a bang, as if you were, I don't know, as if the movie was starting right in the middle of a chase scene.